Pokemon Generation 5. Now, what are you making that face for? What? Oh. I didn't know you had the puppy. So, personal story, personal background. It was 2010, I think, when Black and White came out. David, you and I were in 8th grade. Most likely it was our freshman year of high school, because that would have been 2010 of November, most likely, and we had graduated in 2010 of May, so a couple months prior. We did not play these games because, for whatever reason, at least from my perspective, I had outgrown Pokemon, and I was trying to become something else. Every teenager, I feel like, has an encounter with this experience in one way or another, where you're trying to form an identity for yourself now that you're a little older and you've experienced a little bit more of life. And at least for me, part of that experience was shedding my love for Pokemon, at least for a little bit, because it had become too much to be playing the games all the time and be coming home and watching the show and drawing. I didn't do a whole lot of drawing, but I drew a lot of Pokemon as a kid. And it was time to start discovering new things. I started playing guitar. I started doing theater. I was on a swim team my freshman year of high school for a little bit. And Pokemon Generation 5 just kind of passed me by. I don't know. Was it like a similar experience for you?
Oshawott.
I
saw Oshawott, and I was like, for that reason, I'm out.
What?
I was, Metallica and fucking Damaged Metal. So it was like, wow, all this new shit sucks. I'm only going to play the old stuff.
Yeah.
But Oshawott, I saw it and I was like, fuck that. Fuck Black and White. I really don't like his design.
That's a shame.
Like, it's that hardcore. I hate fucking Oshawott.
But Samurott is cool, and Duat is really cool.
They are. And it sucks. And I love otters. What happened?
Yeah.
What is it about its dumb fucking head that I hate so much?
I don't know. I don't know why you're asking me, but we missed the boat, and it took 3 years when X and Y came out to get back into Pokemon. But in that time, missed a couple of spin-off games. We missed the very first...
All the spin-off games.
Huh?
We missed all the spin-off games.
Yeah, we missed all of them. We missed the sequels to Black and White, aptly named Black and White 2, which we'll get into in a second, but are very similar to the first original games. But we had done a Pokemon retrospective video during the pandemic, and at least I revisited Unova by playing White 2 for the very first time in my life. Because eventually we did get Black and White. I don't know when that was, but I have an original copy of White.
2015.
2015?
Yeah.
I can't remember. Did we go and buy them together?
Yes, it was at Disc Replay, remember?
I don't remember that.
That was the one in Indiana. We went over there. We found them both.
In Highland, Indiana. Yeah, thank you. Shout out to Disc Replay in Highland, Indiana, who offered to give me an interview. Or I did have an interview with them, and they offered me a job, but that was when I got hired at Apple, which objectively is a better job, but, not getting too off the rails. Yeah,
No,
so...
I only remember that because in that video, I talked about how I got my first 2 badges in 2015 and then the rest in 2019 because I stopped for 4 years. I don't know why, but I just stopped.
So when we did our video, did you just continue playing Black then, or did you start a new game in Black too?
No, it was the same file.
Okay, yeah, because I bought White 2 specifically to play Gen 5 again because I'd already played White, and I was very underwhelmed. The spoiler alert for people who are big fans of Gen 5, I was super underwhelmed by the original like Pokemon White. I think it was because like I didn't have any hype going into it. You know, I had already been pretty familiar with the Pokédex like long after the games had come out originally, and I was really just going through the motions. And yeah, when I played White 2, it was kind of the same thing. But I was honestly more excited for White 2 because I thought, okay, this is my first time playing this game. You know, it's been a couple of years since I played White. I haven't played a Unova game in a while. And I remember liking it. I'm glad that there were years in between because, you know, in retrospect, other than the first 2 towns, everything is very similar. There's a whole section at the end of Black and White 2 where Kyurem freezes over the dragon town, and there's just a bunch of ice where you have to fight Team Plasma, and that's kind of cool. But yeah, most of that game feels very similar to the first one. But for the release of Gen 9 and for this series of videos or podcasts, sorry, David and I we finished the original Black and White again, just to kind of like get prepared. So I want to hear your thoughts first. Honest opinions going through it again. What do you think?
I really liked it.
Yeah?
I might actually prefer it over Diamond, to be honest.
Really?
I don't know what happened. I think it's a very similar situation with Moon and Ultra Moon, where I didn't really like the first time.
Yeah.
But the second time, I was like, wow, this is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It really worked for me.
So, like what worked?
Just because it's been... Maybe it's because it was so long since I played, like, a handheld, you know,
Sure.
old school Pokemon game. And I didn't remember anything, so it was, like, brand new. But, like...
Yeah.
I don't know. I really like the region. And there were several times where, like, they really utilized the DS. And, like, the top screen would, like, pull out and you'd see, like, the bridge in the background or whatever. Yeah. And, like, you know, it zooms out and you're walking across, like, that whatever big-ass bridge that was.
Yeah.
And, like, I guess the story overall, too. The characters and shit. I don't know, man. I really liked it.
Huh. So when did you finish Black? Because you finished it before I did.
I finished it a while ago. Like, probably, I don't know. I could go out and get my DS and look where I got the last badge, but, like,
right.
I think it was earlier this month, at least.
Did you... So, spoilers, I guess, for Pokemon Black and White, but at the end of the game, you're going through the Elite Four like normal, and Pokemon games started doing this more and more as the games went on. At least they did it in Sword and Shield, where you're on your way and you're doing your regular journey, like playing through all of the gyms, and you're at the Elite Four. And all throughout the game, N, who is a massively fan favorite character, just this very tall, mysterious. We don't know if he was engineered. Bioengineered. We don't know if he was genetically altered or anything, but he is like the prince of Team Plasma, and he follows you throughout the game, and he's like, we're gonna liberate Pokemon from trainers. And it was a really interesting question to pose at that time, because for several generations, you know, PETA and real life organizations have been criticizing Pokemon for pushing this narrative of like catching animals and forcing them to fight, and so Pokemon kind of took that and flipped it on its head and was like, okay, well, what if in our game we have people that question that, you know? And at the end of it, of course, the moral of the story is like, no, I mean, as long as you have trainers who are good people and they treat their Pokemon well, just like in real life, if you have pet owners that are good people and treat their pets with love, then that's not bad. But in the original game, you're going through the Elite Four, and then up until this point, N has been telling you, like, my plan is to beat the Elite Four and be the champion, become the champion of the Unova region, and then I'm going to make all these rules. I'll be the most powerful trainer in the region. So you get up to the chamber of, where the champion Alder is, and the roof is just fucking blown off, and N is there, and he's like, we're going to fight right now. And you're like, oh, what? And so you have to fight N, and I don't remember if that's after you catch Zekrom or Reshiram.
I think it's right before it.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's this whole scripted sequence where, like, you catch your box art legendary, and then you have to fight his, but you can't use any other Pokemon, and, like, you're always destined to beat N with the rare Pokemon, but then the game is over. After you beat N, and you don't,
over.
And they roll the credits and everything, and then, like, the game starts over, and I forget what.
Then Looker shows up, and he's like, we got to hunt down the 7 sages. Yeah. And then they're just, because I remember I found one of them, like, in, like, a random fucking route,
right?
So you have to, like, look for all of them. And, dude, did you go to, like, the 3 towns, like, after, like, the post game?
Oh, like on the upper right hand side of the map? No, I didn't.
Dude, I don't know what the fuck happens, but, like, up until this point, you're fighting, like, level 40s, like, low 50s Pokemon.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, when you get the national decks on these 3 routes, the motherfuckers are all in, like, their 60s.
Ooh.
The game gets fucking hard as hell, like, because you're way under leveled now.
Yeah.
And, like, that's when I stopped. I was like, fuck this. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah. So you didn't
it was
find
ridiculous.
The other sages, huh?
No, I stopped. I at least wanted to get to the other 3 towns, but I was, like, avoiding trainers and shit. I didn't want to fight them because it was stupid.
What was your team at the end?
Wow. It's like I just fucking played it and I can't remember them.
Well, you started with Oshawott.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was Samurott, that eel thing.
Electric,
yeah. Braviary.
Yeah.
I feel like there was God, I don't remember. I have a bad memory, so
that's okay.
It's hard for me to remember shit like that. I didn't have a grass.
That's weird because I don't have a. Oh, did you use Chandelure?
Chandelure, yeah, I used that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say because I didn't have a fire type.
Oh, Solos or Reuniclus.
Oh, Reuniclus. Yeah,
and then a 6 one I can't remember, but
yeah. So we had pretty similar because I have
horrible fucking team. Every single one of them were slow as fuck.
Well, yeah, Reuniclus is super slow. I think it can learn Trick Room, which is really cool for it because then you swap the speeds of
shit
everybody.
Was so annoying.
Yeah. My team was pretty good. I had Superior because I started with Snivy, and our plan was to play Black 2 and White 2 and like swap our starters, but we both agreed that it's way too soon after beating the first one.
It's too much, man. Plus, these new games are coming out in like 2 weeks. Fuck that.
Yeah. So I had Superior, Jellicent, because I'd never used Jellicent before, and I needed a water type because I was gonna use the monkey, Simipour, but it just wasn't good. It stopped growing. Same thing with Scolipede. So I dropped Scolipede and I replaced it with Crustle, which was a bitch to raise because I got it around the 6th gym. So I was fighting Skyla, and I thought, oh, this is so cool. This will be perfect for him. It'll be perfect for Emolga, which I also used because I think Emolga is my favorite Pikachu clone. There's just something about acrobatics and like having Volt Switch that's really cool to me. But Dwebble, you fucking suck, dude. Like, its defense is super high, but its special defense is shit, and it's pretty slow. So all of these birds came out with, like, Air Cutter and, like, Razor Wind, and they kept one-shotting my... Sorry, Dwebble had Sturdy, so they kept two-shotting my Dwebble. And I was like, you can't do that. I just want to use Rock Slide on you, just once. I just want to evolve you into a Crustle. So that was a pain in the ass. I had Gothitelle, thanks to you, because we traded our exclusives. And she was pretty cool. I just wish I had the alternate ability, because the alternate ability is whenever a stack gets lowered, your special attack raises. But I had fucking Frisk, which reveals like an item that
fucking sucks.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was cool at first because I also had Embargo, which like prevents the use of, items, but like it's only helpful if like there's so many NPCs that don't utilize items, like hold items.
Crocodile, that was the other one.
Oh, and I thought Crocodile was pretty fast.
He was the only one that like attacked first.
Yeah.
Literally the only one.
Yeah. But that combination of swagger and foul play is a deadly... It's like, because foul play does more damage the higher your attack stat is. Or the higher your target's attack stat is. And then swagger confuses them and raises their attack by 2 stages. So it's like, that's a dope combo.
I don't use stupid moves like swagger, though.
All right. We're of 2 different schools.
Earthquake or GTFO?
I didn't know GTFO was an attack. What does that stand for? Get the front
out. Yeah.
Out. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Good games. I feel like had we played them at the age that we were when they came out,
I'm pissed. We skipped them.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. Cause we've talked about this before. It's basically Gen 1, but for like the next generation that was born after us. Because it's like you see so many posts on Instagram and TikTok and all YouTube, and they're like, why Gen 5 is the best generation. And it's like, oh shit, you're just like the Gen 1ers who refuse to acknowledge the later generations because you think Gen 1 is the best. And it kind of was like a soft reboot, right? Because like it was to this day the only new Pokemon game that has like well over 100 new Pokemon. It's like 120 something. It's the second highest since Gen 1. It had a lot of copy Pokemon, like Girder is just like Machamp. You have why am I blanking?
Woobat.
Yeah, Woobat is just Golbat.
Fucking piece of shit Garbodor.
Yeah, is Muck. So there are a lot of like copy Pokemon. Yeah, and it had direct sequels, kind of like how Gen 2 was a direct sequel to Gen 1, where you go to the same region and you see it from a different perspective.
Except not as good because that one actually had a secondary region too.
Yeah, dude. Oh man, and there's even a rumor that Scarlet and Violet are gonna let you explore Kalos, but like there's always a fucking rumor that you're gonna be able to explore a different region, and it hasn't happened yet. But anyway. Yeah. So really quickly, the only other spin-off that I've played from Gen 5 is Pokemon Conquest, which is... I only played it years after it came out, and I remember we looked for that super hard. And eventually I found it, and I played it for a while. It's like Fire Emblem it's like Pokemon Fire Emblem. It's a tactical RPG where there's an overhead map, and you move your Pokemon certain spaces, and you have a team that you can recruit. It's hard, dude. It's super difficult. Like there's a point where like you just have to grind. Like you can't progress the story any further until like you reach a certain level with your Pokemon, which means that you have to keep conquering territories outside of yours, which means beating boss battles that like you're not equipped for. And so I just gave up. I was like, I don't want to play this. But like the sprite models all of the Pokemon. It's kind of like Pokemon Masters, where every Pokemon is paired up with like a specific trainer, and it's set in like samurai era, like Japan, which is like super cool. So all the characters have like armor and shit, and like all the Pokemon, all their armor is like the same color as the Pokemon. You have a character that uses Mewtwo, so his armor is like purple and white, and it's very cool. The character design is excellent. It continued the trend of Pokemon spin-offs being absolute bangers. But other than that, we didn't play the Gen 5 Pokemon Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. We didn't play the Gen 5 Pokemon Ranger game. And yeah, we didn't play Black and White when they came out. So
Yeah.
it really was the generation. It was the gap generation.